and down steps and then just stand around and close my official business.
You're on.
Take it like a break, and like one of us will stand for like a couple hours. You know, don't even stand there, we can have a seat for like 5 or 10 minutes. And just sort of-
Good evening, everyone. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by Township Council, which scheduled designated time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. And we request all those wishing to speak to be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device will be so utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes that shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison.
He's on vacation.
Mr. Mignon.
Here.
Mr. Owens.
Present.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Present.
Mrs. Winters. Here. Mrs. Trotta.
She is dealing with family matters.
Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Cardis.
Here.
Mr. Lechner.
I sent Mr. Lechner home due to the weather. He has a long commute.
Chief Earl.
Here.
We'll now open our first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda items, please raise your hand. Mr. Sweet.
Sam Sweet from Ariel, Elizabeth Place. Question is from more or less on the capital budget program.
There will be a public hearing at the second reading.
Okay, so I can come back then? I thought that was on,
The second reading, which is on the 22nd.
I can't ask any questions on it now?
Well, there's a hearing that takes place. You can ask some questions, correct, Mr. Sure. I entertain it.
Okay, thank you. I'm just wondering about the scoreboard for Lakeland and GT baseball. The baseball scoreboard and the football scoreboard. Why is the township paying for them as opposed to them raising funds for themselves or going outside? Coke, Pepsi will be more than happy to pay for a scoreboard.
I've heard that from you from before.
It's been done. I'm not part of like GT baseball.
No, I just, when
I'm just-
you were part of the Field of Dreams, you mentioned that
And
didn't
it's
see a
been done.
scoreboard or Coke or Pepsi donate towards Field of Dreams. But as you know, Lakeland is part of the Gloucester Township. That's part of our recreation. Those are our fields. We maintain those fields and those facilities. That's something that they had approached the administration, Mr. Carter, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's something that we'll put into to that facility to enhance it.
Okay, and then the other question is, the breakdown of this has a different cost. I'm assuming the cost is debt service.
I'm sorry, I'm not following what you're
From the 6.1 to the 5.9, is that what you're talking about?
I'm just looking at the breakdown. I looked at it pretty quickly. You have, on the agenda here, you have like, on D, various improvements to the recreational areas, estimated total cost $72,876. But on the breakdown for Recreation D, it says $43,005 on this breakdown.
Okay.
So is the difference between the 72 and the 43 interest over the course of, because we're bonding it?
It would be the closing, it's the closing cost. You're permitted to finance the first year's interest when you issue. So it includes an estimated 3.5% interest, and it also includes 2% legal and accounting, and that it would be for the closing costs. So that would be inclusive of those costs also.
Okay, all right. And that would go for every one of the other,
Every item on.
every other item. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the first public portion. Waive the reading and accept the minutes of regular meeting December 11th and December 27th, 2017. Executive session December 27th.
Take the executive session off. I didn't bring them with me.
Okay.
I apologize.
So we'll make an amendment. So regular meeting of December 11th and December 27th, 2017. Special meeting reorganization January 3rd, 2018. And the January workshop January 3rd, 2018. I entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Mignon. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Stubbs. On the question, roll call.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mr. Owens,
I need to abstain from the regular meeting on December 11th and the 27th, but, can, Mr. Carlin,
Yes.
but then yes for, the, January 3rd, special meeting and the January 3rd workshop meeting.
Mrs. Stubbs,
I accept with the exception of the special meeting on January 3rd.
And the workshop as well, because we had a workshop.
Yes, the workshop right now.
Mrs. Winters,
Yes, except I abstain from the December 27th regular meeting and executive session.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes to all. Next, we have our ordinances of first reading. There will not be a public hearing for this. Will be at our second, at the second reading. Bond ordinance 0-18-01 is a bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various pieces of capital equipment and the construction and completion of various capital improvements in and for the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $6,198,323, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes in the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $5,903,165, making certain determinations of covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. This is our capital budget. In our capital budget, we present normally in the first part of the year, January, at the latest February. We'll have 2 readings, but this is for reconstruction and paving of sidewalks through our township, reconstruction and repaving of various streets within the township, costs associated with drainage improvements, recreation improvements, installation of traffic signals and street lighting, improvements to various township buildings, additional and replacement equipment for public works, various replacement equipment for the recreation department, acquisition of office and computer equipment for various township departments, and then acquisition of equipment for police department, which includes but not limited to patrol rifles, computers, radio equipment, MDTs, mobile data terminals, body cameras, traffic safety equipment, and all-wheel drive vehicles. With that, I entertain a motion to accept the ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Winters. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters, Mr. Mercado.
Yes. Ordinance 0-18-02 is a bond ordinance authorizing various improvements to the stormwater drainage system in the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Township of Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $1.4 million, making certain determinations and covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connections with the foregoing. There are various drainage improvement projects in the township, but they're not limited to the replacement of stormwater piping at Cherrywood Drive, which has been an ongoing project for many years, in Kelly Driver Road, and the replacement of the head wall at Signey Lane. I believe that's in the Timber Birch, Broadmoor, in between area of our township. With that, I entertain a motion to approve bond 0-18-02.
Mr. President, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Stubbs. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes.
Mr. Owens,
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs,
Yes.
Mrs. Winters, Mr. Mercado.
Yes, next we have a resolutions of consent agenda. Any council member would like to have any item removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Winters. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mignone?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes, next is Resolution 18-01-019. It's a resolution appointing council liaison to Gloucester Township Advisory Committee for Recreation and Parks. I erred at our reorg meeting and jumped the gun. I didn't include Mr. Mignone on it. I heard his name twice and I thought we had approved it already. But this is appointing Michael Mignone to a one-year term as the liaison to the Gloucester Township Advisory Committee for Recreation and Parks. I entertain a motion to accept that
I'll make that
resolution.
motion.
Thank you, Mr. Owens.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Stubbs. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Mignone?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Mr. Mercado?
Yes, we did not receive any GTE Gov access emails. We now open up the second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro
Good evening.
from Ariel.
The historic village of Erie.
Thank you. The firehouse has that sign. We still don't have one yet. We're looking forward to one eventually. Plowing after this last storm.
How was it?
If I had to rate them with a report card, I'd give the Township Public Works a B. I think they did a pretty decent job. I think the contractors would get an F, and I don't know if they still give Fs, but I remember what an F meant. Contractors were brutal. And the developments that I saw, especially the one that I live in, was brutal. 1, 2 passes, and cars were moved off the street so that they could plow curb to curb. I don't know if you pay them fully for a full street or half if they do half the street, but something's got to be worked out that, obviously, you know, the development of Clementone and about the contractors were just terrible.
So in your particular area, is your particular area plowed by contractors?
Contractor.
Okay.
Now, to the credit of Public Works, after the contractor had left, Public Works pickup truck came through with a plow on it and refined a little of what the contractor missed. And if we're paying contractors to do the job right, Public Works shouldn't have had to do it again, but I'm grateful that they did.
So was this grade, Ray, based on Thursday night or Friday and Saturday and how your streets look?
Well, from what I understand and the folks that I spoke with, the plows went through some developments in the southern end 2, 3, 4, 5 times. My particular development, we didn't see them until nighttime for the first time, and the snow had already built up pretty good. And again, by that time, as everyone would want to do, is you try to do the shoveling before the sun goes down. You get some kind of, and then of course the plow comes through and 6 feet, 7 feet from the curb, you're still piled up. It was pretty bad. Maybe we take another look at who did that particular development, and maybe other developments that the contractors performed poorly. The county, don't even get me started. They were terrible. If any one of you have ever traveled to the southern end, there's supposed to be 3 lanes on Ariel Williamstown Road when you cross Keys. Left turn, center, right turn. There is no right turn lane. It's still today sitting in a good pile of original snow. And just to let me know that it wasn't just Gloucester Township that they thought of that way, Voorhees was closed on 73 today. The whole right lane up on northbound 73 was brutal. It was backed up all the way down to the Berlin Circle. So, you know, for what we give the township of our tax dollars and you guys as well, they shouldn't have even bothered going out. They were that bad.
Tom, you want to comment on the plowing or the? You have any comments?
Well, I don't in terms of the county, I mean.
No, not the county, but what was the strategy on Thursday night, and Friday?
We brined the entire town, which I think.
And did a great job at that.
It helped the situation.
That gets an A.
Everything,
All right.
everything was thoroughly brined. We began to salt early in the morning. We made a decision, both Mr. Bucciaroni and I, to call out the contractors. I believe it was around 9 a.m. And then they were actually deployed.
Stop the clock, please.
What's that?
Stop the clock, please. Thank you.
Well, Ray, I can ask to stop the clock.
Yeah, I mean.
Sorry.
Mine was only a request.
Okay. No, you said stop the clock.
Now, I asked, could you stop the clock, please? But that's okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, can you stop the clock, please? Thank you.
Wow.
No.
That's fine. Go ahead, Tom.
So we deployed the outside contractors in the morning, and so, you know, they went to the various developments. I don't know how many there are, but there are many outside contractors that we do utilize. I don't know about the ones in your particular area. I know the ones in my area did a pretty decent job. The back roads, we could not get all the way down to the asphalt. It was just too cold, and with the blowing snow, not only in the back streets, but also some of the major roads like Little Gloucester, where the wind was blowing from Warren flooding out into the road. It was impossible to keep those roads. But that was a very difficult storm because of the temperatures and because of the wind.
And the powdery snow was blowing around, I get that. And I did see, of course, that they did not plow down to the asphalt in the majority of the development. I was hoping maybe after the storm had subsided, it would have been nice had they revisited maybe for a second time for it. Maybe just check on the contractor that did our development. I can only speak on that and
We do check up on the contractors. The supervisors are out looking at the contractors. By statute, by law, we cannot put a driver out for more than 14 hours straight. So the plan was for us to continue to salt and plow along with the outside contractors, and then to come in early in the morning, which I believe we came in around 5, and salt all the back streets. And I think they did an excellent job, because I know at least in my development, we're down.
Well, you signed their checks, right? They better get that one right.
Excuse me?
You signed their checks, they better get that one right.
No, I looked
I'm
at other
kidding.
developments. I know you're making a joke, but you know, other developments I looked at too, and we were down to asphalt. So the process of what we did by applying that salt afterwards, I think was very effective.
For the most part, I mean, we got slush, which is now ice-covered slush now, but for the most part, once they got there, it was fine. Again, and my hat's off to Public Works for coming in behind the contract, although they shouldn't have had to do so.
I saw, I'm going to continue this a little bit. I saw plows out yesterday cleaning up some stuff because when it snowed, I stayed in. I got enough food in the house. So I stayed in Thursday and Friday. But not everyone has that luxury. They have to go to work. But Friday, the roads were a little bit better. And I just went down Little Gloucester Road, but I saw the wind. It was blowing it back. And then yesterday, I was dropping off T-shirts from Martin Luther King. They had Lewis School. And they had to replow Lewis School again because the snow came off onto the parking lot area there again. So,
And again,
When the roads are frozen, and I, you know, not debating what you're saying, I thought it was just a strategy of it went through the first time and still coming down, and they came back again. I thought it was intentional. I didn't think that possibly it could be the contractor. I guess it could have been. But with the roads being frozen, it just froze as soon as it adhered to the road.
and I understand that because those that had already had 3, 4, and even 5 sweeps through, and we hadn't even seen one, and at that point, and I understand you ought to let the snow fall, but here that other developments had been done 4 and 5 times, some said 11 times, that they had seen, you know, trucks go through, which I think that's an exaggeration probably, but, and again, the county I think should hear about the, up by the Acme, it, as we speak, is still horrible. There's no lane for the right turn lane. Most of the line of traffic is backing down to the Nike base in some cases. Enough about plowing. I'm going to bring a topic up that we spoke of before. You're borrowing $6.2 million. Forget about the storm drain water. That I understand. You've explained that real well, why that has to be done. It always puzzles me and concerns me that we're sitting on, not where, but you're sitting on the better part of $5 million in surplus, and we're borrowing 6.2. And again, it always brings to mind that you have cash in your pocket, you're still swiping our card. Why is it that with cash on hand, you continue to borrow? Isn't there an arrangement where you can maybe take $3 million of the money that you sit on and only borrow 3? Because that's quite a commission, quite a fee, quite interest.
That's how school boards do their budget. they have their debt services within their budget. That is not the prescribed method that the state of New Jersey has municipalities follow. Now, albeit most small municipalities do notes, they don't do permanent financing. We are big enough that we need to be doing permanent financing, just like Cherry Hill, just like big cities like Newark and Camden, and those monies do not get commingled.
When you say commingled,
You do not look at the surplus in the general fund and say that we're going to use that surplus to do a capital budget. That's not the way it's done.
Why not?
Because you permanently finance it. In order to permanently finance, you have to go out to the bond market. One requirement is we have to put down 5%. It's called the Capital Improvement Fund. So for general obligation bonds, as the one we're talking about right now, and you'll see it in the sheet that I provided to Mr. Sweet, that we have to put down 5% before we can borrow the residual amount. And so that is, because we're going to borrow over, there's a list of projects in local bond law, and they vary from a street to a truck to and they all have estimated useful lives. It's prescribed by the state. You use that, you give that to bond counsel, they already have it, they prepare a bond ordinance based on the list that I provided Mr. Sweet. They're looking at the amounts and they're looking at the useful life. They create a bond ordinance. That bond ordinance tells the entities that are involved in permanently financing this how long we can borrow that money for.
my question is the numbers
I
where,
disagree with your approach that you would take cash to finance a project that has a useful life of, say, for example, 15 or 18 years, such as a street or a drainage project. That is not the way you do it.
you're sitting on an extraordinary amount of money. I think between 1.5 and 2 million is a fair surplus amount for just in case. Over 5 million is a lot of money, and you're still borrowing. Again, to me, it is always, you got cash in your pocket, you're swiping our card. Why can't you?
I disagree, because that is not the way the state tells us that we have to do our financing.
Excuse me, the state is telling
Talking
you,
about two different accounts. You're talking about the general fund and what might be in that. And I don't know how much is in the general fund in surplus. You're the one that's saying there's $5 million.
5.2.
I don't know that. I don't know what's in the
You've
general
acknowledged
fund
that
account
before in the
that
past.
We have not done the annual financial statements on audit. We won't know till that's prepared. That's not due until February 10th.
The problem is going to be an ongoing problem. It's so long as you continue to pile up debt, you're never, ever going to be able to observe.
Retired debt also, right? Right, we
But
had this discussion.
I understood, but again, you're never going to be able to adhere to the 2% cap so long as we have debt. And debt is, Tom, is debt going down?
Capital items that have a useful life of over 5 years can be bonded. And that is exactly what we're doing, just like every other municipality in the state of New Jersey. Whether they're doing notes, one-year notes, and flipping them until they can pay them off, and maybe only doing them in the amount of $40,000 because they're a small postage stamp and all they need is a police car, or a township our size, which is 24 square miles with 65,000 people and 600 miles of road. And we need to buy the things we need to buy to make sure that we can safely protect this community.
And with that, we'll end.
I was going to end it on this note, just because you have, and just because everyone else does. I would like to think that at some point we're going to be better than them and maybe see the debt figure start to go down, live within our means, and observe the 2% cap would be a great advantage to
But
the
that
taxpayer.
figure is actually relatively low compared to where it could be.
Happy New Year to all.
Thank you, Happy New Year. Mr. Sweet?
Am I allowed to ask questions on this, or?
Are you adding to what you had asked before, or is it the same question, sir?
No, I'm adding
All right, go ahead.
just one clarification. Mr. Cardis had said that, if I'm correct, capital assets with over 5 years, life can be bonded.
Yes.
Okay, 5-year useful
with
life,
state approval.
with state approval. So cars and,
No, I'm gonna give you, I'll give you an excellent example. A passenger vehicle under the state of New Jersey cannot be bonded permanently, even though it may have a useful life of over 5 years. An all-wheel drive vehicle, whether it's a 4-wheel drive truck or the vehicles that we currently purchase, which are all-wheel drive pursuit-rated vehicles, can be, again, by the state of New Jersey, legally can be permanently financed.
permanently funded, you mean by bonding them?
Right, because
Okay.
again, it's,
And how long, the bonds are 10 years?
it depends on the useful life. It's a weighted average of the various items that you're funding and and it's a calculated amount based on that weighted average of the useful life and the amount.
So it could be, you could have a 7-year bond, you could have a 15-year bond, you could have a,
Typically,
it all will vary,
typically
depending
it
on,
comes in around 10 to 12 years.
okay. Then with some of these items, we're buying a printer for $500 or we're bonding it,
We are permitted to permanently finance those, yes.
a printer, though, I mean,
Copy
Two-
machines,
well-
copy machines, here we can.
okay, but for two things I have on the, most printers, 5-year useful life is, especially in this day and age, they're outdated in 3 years. And for $500, I would not want to bond it, I just would want to pay cash, because if we're bonding it and that adds up and we have 1,000 here, 500 there, and we're adding up, and then we're paying that over the course of 10 years, it's like a credit card. It's going to keep accruing interest.
It is a weighted average of all the items that are included. So some are going to be more than the 10 years. Let's say hypothetically, if it's 10 years, it could be 10, 11, or 12 years, depending on what's in there. Some of them are going to be 18 to 25 years. Some of them are going to be 5 to 7 to 8.
But if we're putting out, and this is where I'm confused, I guess. If we're putting it out on the bond market for people to buy the bonds to finance these, how long are they getting, like if I wanted to go buy a bond, am I buying a bond for a 5-year bond and saying, okay, I'm taking this portion? Or I'm buying
Buying the bond is a package.
as a package?
It's a weighted, useful life.
Okay.
Weighted because it's weighted based on the amount.
But wouldn't it be cheaper for us if we got rid of the smaller items, even though we're allowed to bond them?
You're trying to reinvent New Jersey local bond law. Maybe you should talk to the state.
Okay.
Ask them how they're.
Again, I'm just asking,
You're arguing
you know.
whether a printer should be included or not, and I'm telling you, a printer is.
I'm not arguing whether it should be included or not. I understand that it can be included. Okay, I guess I am arguing whether it should be because it's $500. So $500 if it's bonded and it's an average of 10 years or 12 years or 7 years, whatever the bond, length comes out to be.
Some items are going to be less than the maturity schedule. Some items are going to be, that's again, the weighted average useful life. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But to me, $500 is pretty small to throw in with a bond. Because that's going to cost us, again, $550, $600, $700 down the road. It's all, I'm just looking at it from that perspective. So, that's all I had. Thank you, and be safe driving home, guys. It's icy out there.
With that, we'll close the second public portion. Polling of directors.
Chief Earl,
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Barlamere,
Nothing to report.
Cantwell,
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis,
Nothing to
Mr. Mignone,
Thank you all for coming out, and as Sam said, please be safe going home. Thank you.
Mr. Owens,
Yeah, and also thank all the public works folks. They did a great job of clearing, all the first responders. And want to welcome home U.S. Army Specialist Michael Whalen. He came home Saturday night from serving our country, and I had the honor of being there to give him a hug and welcome him home.
Mrs. Stubbs,
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and also would like to give credit to Public Works. It's a tough job, especially this was a really rough storm. It's never been so cold, I think, for many of us. And also, in my area, I'd like to thank first responders for the providing us with safety with the fire that we had recently. it's troubling and scary and it's frightening, but we've always had the reassurance of the police department and the fire department, and we appreciate that.
Mrs. Winters?
Just want to tell everybody, be safe, go home, be careful.
Mr. Mercado?
Thank you for coming out this evening. Reminder, Martin Luther King Day service is Monday, January 15th. Registration still available online. This is our 7th year, and we anticipate having a crowd of over 700 again, volunteering various projects throughout the township. I believe there's about 28 or 29 of them. So with that, entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a first?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.